Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the JP Football Podcast. So last video, the internet just crashed. Like that's never happened to me on a video before. It just crashed, and hopefully it won't happen again because I don't know. I really don't know why it did. It just happened. But anyway, so this is gonna be part two of the England America International World Cup qualifier talk. So we're literally just gonna jump right into where we left off because my video converted, so it's saved. So we should have part one. But again, we're just gonna be ending on this note because this is what we last talked about. But like we said, Luke, because again, how is you as an England fan? You know, a good one that's not mental and throwing these racial like. How do you deal with those types of fans that make the fan base just look awful when there are really a lot of good English fans out there?
Look, there's a lot of passionate England fans, and I'm one of them. But there's also some bad eggs, and we've just got to ignore them and just carry on supporting our country and just get behind it. That's all we've got to do. Those bad eggs, they can just either not support them and get in trouble, or you either get behind the boys and just back them. So that's basically it.
Yeah, and
then go ahead.
Oh no! You. I was just gonna say, speaking of racism in football, ladies and gentlemen, if you, on the off chance that you are one of those people, it doesn't matter what country you're from. If you are one of those people, I just want to say right now, you are not welcome here. You are not welcome on this channel. We do not accept any type of racism, homophobia, none of that. So if you are on the off chance one of those people, just do me a favor and leave because, I can't be bothered to have that. And, FIFA, like, when it comes to these fans, like I do actually think extreme measures should be taken by FIFA or whoever's on these social media accounts trying to hide behind a screen. These fans should be banned for life. Banned for life. Nothing, no second chance given, just banned for life. But continue on.
But let's move on from racism.
Yeah, let's we're gonna be moving on. Just again, guys, say no to racism. It's not, it's just morally stupid. I don't need to explain myself. Luke doesn't need to either. We're just gonna be moving on to
bad eggs out there, and we just got to get rid of the bad eggs.
Exactly. So moving on then. So speaking of the games, because like we said, Hungary 4-0 win, but then against Andorra, I believe Southgate switched from a 4-2-3-1 to a 4-3-3 and pretty much like completely changed the squad, which again, and it was still another 4-0 win, which I think attributes to the squad depth that you guys have. Who came in that like Lingard came in that game. I'm a big
Bamford.
fan. Yeah. Bamford got a start. Henderson came in. Sam Johnston stepped in goal of all people.
Trent in midfield.
Yeah, Trippier and James actually played on either wing back. Saka played. Jude Bellingham played. Mings and Cody were the center back partnership, and I think that was everyone.
Trent in midfield was
right. Trent in midfield.
Bamford. Let's talk about Bamford for a second.
Yeah, Patrick Bamford. Yeah.
I think I missed a few names in the last video, but sorry if you support them. I've missed a few names. My English knowledge is not the best, but that's the reason we've got so many good players, and you only realise the good ones. You don't realise the backup ones. So Bamford, that game he was pretty poor, I must have to say. I don't know. I spoke to a Leeds fan.
Okay.
He said with Bamford and Leeds, it's togetherness. Leeds and Bamford are together. The Leeds team is a togetherness. England, he's sort of overshadowed with Kane in there, and he's like, I think he must have a bit of pressure because Kane is probably the number one, and Kane's always going to be the number one.
Yeah.
So Bamford was poor in that game. He's missed a lot of chances. And I did watch that game, and Jude Bellingham, he's the one for the future. He's probably gonna be he's gonna probably be the new either Iniesta or Xavi. I think that's how highly I rate him.
Wow.
He's gonna be the next Iniesta or Xavi in the England team. He's that good, and I've heard a few rumours going around that he could be off to Liverpool, but I don't know how true that is.
Hope not.
Henderson, I think Henderson is not good enough for England anymore.
Oh wow.
He puts his heart out, he puts everything in it, but there's enough players in there that's better than him. Like Mount, like
Foden,
all them players, they're all, and Rice as well, Declan Rice, they're all better than him, Henderson's not good anymore. He's good for Liverpool, he's not good for England. Connor Cody, I've forgotten the other centre-backs in it. Here's another one, Cody.
To me, he just looks like a backup, doesn't he?
Yeah. But he's good. His only best position is good playing at the 3 at the back.
Yeah.
He's not good in the 2, he's good in the 3.
Mm-hmm.
That's where he's best at for Wolves. Rhys James, fantastic player. I like him a lot. I still think he's England's best right back. And I think England have got plenty of options at fullback, and I've forgotten left backs. Chilwell, there's another one.
Chilwell, yep.
I think he's having a bit of injury problems at the moment. That's the reason why he's not playing for Chelsea. But he's a fantastic left back on his day, and and that Andorra game, I think Lingard was the man of the match.
Oh yeah, I was so happy because again, I feel like personally I like Jesse Lingard a bit more than I think the average person, like per se, with Jesse Lingard, because I know he had that really bad dip at United, but during his bad form or dip at United, I thought to myself, well, hold on, I really do think he's still a quality player. I think he just maybe needs a bit of like a change of scenery, and then he'll get back going. He'll get back on his feet. I wanted Everton to go. A lot of Everton fans were against going after him, and still are. But I was one of the few that was like, no, let's bring him in. I think he could do a job for us. He goes to West Ham, and
now he's in the England squad.
And now he's back in the England squad, and I was actually really annoyed and frustrated that United are, decided, we're going to keep Jesse Lingard. I was like, well, you're not going to play him. Let's be honest. Jesse Lingard is not getting over Bruno Fernandes, maybe not even over the next person available in that position. So the fact, and he's barely, and sometimes he doesn't even make the bench for United, and look at the form he's been in. But again, United, a whole different giant, a whole different beast. I get it. I understand why, but if Jesse Lingard could go to like an Everton or continue at a West Ham or even a Palace or somewhere there where he can really shine and continue to make the England squad on that, then I would love that for him. I would, because again, I really like Jesse Lingard.
Yeah, I think he can probably get ahead of Phil Foden and all them lot, and Mason Mounts if he carries on his form. And I've forgotten Bukayo Saka. He's another one.
Yeah.
Fantastic talent, and unfortunately he's not at the club he should be at. I think he's better than Arsenal, but I must have to say, when he plays for England, because he did perform really well during the Euros, but when he plays for England, Bukayo Saka, he really turns up. He's one player that I really think could get ahead of like someone like Rashford. So Bukayo Saka is a really good, talented player. So yeah, but overall that Andorra game was a really good. It was mixed. It was like Hungary. We played poor in the first half, and then we turned up in the second half.
Yeah.
So we move on to Poland now.
Yes, absolutely. So Poland was going into that game. I was looking very much forward to watching it because I thought these two teams, in my opinion, are the best two teams in that group. And when it comes to, and again, I thought England would play one of their stronger lineups back to the 4-2-3-1 instead of the 4-3-3. And then Poland, I'm like, okay, Lewandowski is going to be the biggest problem going into it. He's going to be the biggest problem. And then him and Krychowiak are going to be a problem. And then maybe if Glick has a good defensive performance, and then if who that Polish guy that came on in the end that scored, Szymanski or something like that. I wasn't too worried about him, but then he showed his quality. But again, I knew those, and then Szczesny in goal, good goalkeeper still. So I knew those, and Bednarek actually. Now that I'm thinking about, Poland's got good players. My point is Poland has actually got good players. And again, Lewandowski, I thought was going to be the biggest problem. Again, that Poland environment, by the way, that atmosphere was very hostile towards the English fans, and not in a bad way, not in a racist way. They weren't racist, but in the way that they put a lot of pressure on England with the boos and like all that stuff and driving their team forward per se. But you guys should have won that game. It should have been a 1-0 win.
Yeah, true, but that's football for you. And Harry Kane took his goal very well.
He did.
It looks like he's warming up for the weekend. Let's hope he doesn't do that. But no, Kane took his goal really well, and he's apparently 12 goals. I think 12 or 13 goals off the England record.
That's insane.
That Rooney holds.
That's insane.
Rooney holds it at 53.
Yeah, 53.
So Kane's about 12 goals off it.
He's gonna break it.
He probably will.
Gonna break.
But personally, I think Rooney was one of my favorite England players.
Me too.
Yeah. And defensively we looked a bit shaky.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was because we had a lot of games beforehand, and the squad was just tiring. But as I said about in the last video, the midfield pivot of Phillips and Declan Rice, it can win you games, but to some, we need a bit of creativity. Someone like Mason Mount, but Mason Mount at the moment, he's this season and probably in some England games, he's playing out on the left. He should be playing centrally.
Exactly.
Mount's probably Mount, Foden is probably our most creative players. But do you know who I think should have got called up to the England squad? And that's Dele Alli.
There's another one.
Dele Alli has been performing really well for Tottenham this season. I think he should have been called up, but unfortunately Gareth Southgate didn't call him up. So yeah, but that Poland game was a bit disappointing because I think it was tired legs, and as I said about controversial, Gareth Southgate. The reason probably why there was tired legs, there was no substitutions. You had a lot of good talented players on that bench, but he didn't use his subs, and that was the stuff going around Twitter about Southgate. He doesn't.
That's true.
He didn't make any subs, and he doesn't make subs sometimes. And the England fans are pretty split on Southgate.
Okay. Still split.
But I like Southgate, but you've got to use that talent. And England have got a really talented squad, as we mentioned a lot of names in this video. So, but that's my opinions on England. Anything you want to say, Josh?
I mean, the subs thing, it is shocking, right? It is shocking. And, the thing too is because speaking of tired legs, all the teams had to play 3 games within the span of however long. And then
2
again,
weeks.
But here's the thing with England, which is why I think the tired legs thing is a bit weird and why the subs should have been played. Because again, against Andorra, completely different side than what you had in the first game. So those players are getting some rest probably for this Polish game. You get a 4-0 win against Andorra, then you come to Poland, and again, there's too much talent on that bench not to be using 3, 4, however many subs FIFA is going to allow you to use, minimum 3 that game, because all those players on the bench can be game changers coming in. But again, like when Kane scored, it was 1-0. I thought, okay, the score will probably stay this way. But then, 4 minutes of added time. Again, like you said, the defense just looked tired. I'm surprised Southgate didn't put on another defender or another midfielder. In fact, it doesn't matter. And then Lewandowski, he gets the ball on like the left wing, right on the edge of the box, crosses in just a beautiful ball. And then Szymanski heads it in. By the way, do you remember who was supposed to be marking Szymanski? Was it Stones or Maguire? I forgot who was supposed to be marking him.
I think it was
Stones, but they did a poor job. He gets a free header, and Jordan Pickford's not saving that. I mean, that was a perfectly placed header, and Poland gets a point that they very, very much needed to at least get. And then, England are looking at each other like, what? Just, yeah.
So how well do you think England will do next summer? Not next summer, but in the winter of the World Cup.
Okay. Speaking of, because that's going to have a big effect on club teams, right? Because the Premier League is not stopping because of the World Cup, right? They're going to continue their season. Oh man, Everton are so okay. Anyway, we're gonna be missing key players if they haven't gone already to other teams. But I honestly think, since the World Cup's actually in December, I think the Premier League players should be in their form already. They're gonna have games under the belt. They're gonna be in their form already leading into that World Cup. So I actually think England has a big advantage, because you play in the toughest, the most physical league in the world, one of the fastest leagues in the world. And then a lot of the players play in that same league. And then you're going to the World Cup, where you're going to play national teams that aren't as good as your competition in there. So I think that gives England a huge advantage. Again, I think England can make it to the World Cup finals. I really do believe that. World Cup finals for me.
That's what I think as well. If we used the players correctly.
Yeah.
So yeah, I agree with you. I think we're going to do well in the World Cup next year. We made it into Euros final. Could England make it into the final and actually win it? That's how it happens, right? Final, you lose. Final, you might win. So,
True.
Yeah.
True. Also, two more things before we end it. So, are England fans, and I'm wondering this because honestly, it doesn't make sense to me, but are England fans still like a bit iffy, a bit split on Jordan Pickford in goal?
No, I think he's our best keeper, England's best keeper. We're not split. I'm comfortable with him in goal, because he's a really good penalty stopper. When it comes to our penalty shootouts over the past years, he's been our saviour.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And anything else about?
Yeah. So right before we add into this, I wanted to do this thing with you, Luke, where you and I are going to think of a formation. Like, we're going to think of the best England squad, in our opinion, to put out. And let's not say World Cup for now. Let's say the next qualifying stage. We're going to think of the best England starting 11, what formation, and assuming everyone is healthy, that's what we'll do. So think of a formation in your head. I got mine over here. And then on the count of 3, I'll go first. I'll say my formation, and then you'll say yours. And then we'll go that by position and player. Sound good?
Yeah.
All right. So I'll go first. 1, 2, 3. My formation, best formation for England, 4-2-3-1.
Okay. Mine is the 4-3-3.
Yours is 4-3-3. Okay. Now, I personally think 4-2-3-1 is best, in my opinion, because of the 2 holding midfielders, and then it could easily be, you could be very defensive with it as well. And then I think England has enough talent to push it forward and give Harry Kane some support up front that he's going to need. You said 4-3-3. Why?
Because it just gives you that flexibility in the midfield with if you want to play Rice and Phillips together, or you want to play either someone like Mount in that middle. So that's why. And then we can counter-attack it easily. The 4-3-3.
Okay. Now starting goalkeeper. I got mine. Jordan Pickford.
I'm gonna have Pickford as well.
Pickford. I don't think we need to explain ourselves. Pretty easy. Why? I mean, our backups are Nick Pope and Sam Johnston, who are just that backups, at least
But
for the
also,
England squad.
I think Dean Henderson can have a run for his money as well.
Oh, if he gets games.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's that. And again, no there. So left back position. And so we do have different formations, but once we get to the midfield, we'll get there. But left back, Luke Shaw for me.
Chilwell for me.
Oh, Chilwell for you. Okay. I'm picking Luke Shaw because of his great run of form. And then I think he's done well at United, had a really good Euros. And then I do think he's just going to continue that trend until next year. So for me, that's why I'm picking Luke Shaw. Why are you picking Chilwell over him?
I think he's younger and has more room to develop. And he's a good fullback. He gets up and down the pitch good. So that's for, I like Chilwell. So.
Okay. On the other side, right back, this should be an interesting one. Oh boy. You know what? I know who Southgate's probably going to go with, but this is who I'm going to go with. Controversially to all Evertonians, I'm going to go with Trent Alexander-Arnold, and I'm going with him because again, he's a good player. He's young, and I think he could provide a lot of attack going forward. And I think defensively, he'll just be good enough. So I'm gonna go with him. You at right back?
Rhys James.
Rhys James.
He's good defensively and he's good going forward.
Okay, there you go. Center back partnership now. For me, Harry Maguire and John Stones.
Okay, I'm going for Maguire and Stones as well because they're both experienced. But if Ben Goff, I like Ben Godfrey. I think he's underrated. So he has room to develop, but I think Ben Godfrey or Tyrone Mings, there's another one, can push both of them, Harry Maguire and Stones, next year for the World Cup start.
True, very true. But as for now, I think we can both agree Maguire and Stones are probably our best defenders at the moment.
Yeah.
England. So there's that. So moving on to the midfield then. So obviously formation's a bit different. So you have 3, I have 5 midfielders. So I'm going to go first on the 2 defensive mids, Calvin Phillips and Declan Rice. I think that's pretty self-explanatory. I don't think there's a better partnership in the midfield other than those 2 at the moment. I mean, you could give a shout to Henderson or anyone like that playing a bit down, but those 2 for me, Declan Rice and Calvin Phillips, are going to help carry that midfield. And then that's my 2. Your 3 midfielders?
Mount, Rice, and Phillips.
Mount, Rice, and Phillips. Okay. Why those 3?
Because with Mount, he can either drift out left if he really wants to, and he's a creative player. And Declan Rice and Phillips is not that creative, so they hold it, and then Mount can be that creative player.
Okay. And then for my 3 midfielders up top for the 3, left mid, I'm going to go with, start with right mid. Right mid, I'm going to go with Sterling. Really like Raheem Sterling. Center attacking mid on that 10, I'm going to go with, I'm gonna go with Jack Grealish,
Okay.
and then
Yeah.
left mid, put Mason Mount out in the left mid because him and Grealish can interchange that position whenever they need be, and they both have pace as well. So that's gonna be the rest of my midfield. And then for you, your left winger and your right winger, who are those gonna be?
On the right, there's a lot of controversial. There's Sancho, there's Greenwood, there's Sterling as well, there's Rashford. But I'm going to go for Greenwood.
Okay.
On form at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
But that might change next year. I'm going to go for Greenwood. And on the left, Grealish. You're going to... A lot of fans have said Grealish is better off the bench.
I've heard that.
He's better off the subs. But I'm going to go for Saka.
Okay.
I think Saka, he plays well for England, so I'm going to go for Saka.
All right, on the left. And then up top, Harry Kane.
Yeah, Harry Kane as well for me.
Yeah.
So.
No real explanation there. He's the best forward England's got. He's their captain, irreplaceable. Even though as much as I love Calvert-Lewin and I like Patrick Bamford, just, they're not at the level that Harry Kane is at. So, well, ladies and gentlemen, my final, what I think would be best for England to play in the next upcoming World Cup qualifiers when the next international break hits, who I think their strongest lineup would be if everyone's healthy. Pickford in goal, Shaw at left back, Alexander-Arnold the right back, the two center backs being Maguire and Stones, the two holding midfielders, Rice, Phillips, the three attacking mids being, in a left mid, right mid, center attacking mid position, Grealish in the middle, Mount on the left, Sterling on the right, Kane up front. And then Luke believes it's a 4-3-3. And can you reiterate your lineup as well? Who you think's best?
Yeah, so mine's Pickford in goal, two centre backs of Stones and Maguire, fullbacks Chilwell and Rhys James. My midfield three of Calvin Phillips, Declan Rice, and Mason Mount. And then on the right, Mason Greenwood, and on the left, Bukayo Saka, and then up front, Harry Kane.
Well, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. And again, England is currently at the top of their World Cup qualifying group until the next international break is, going to be the next time we'll probably talk about them, see how they progress. But again, that's my England squad. That's Luke. And ladies and gentlemen, please let us know in the comments below who you think, would be better in the England's positions. If you agree with us, if you disagree with us, we would love to know your thoughts and opinions. And again, if there's another international team or another club football team out there that you want me to talk about, just leave it in the comments as well. Please like the video, subscribe if you haven't already. It really helps the channel out. And yeah, until next time, ladies and gentlemen. And Luke, where can they find you just before we go?
Just find me on Instagram. So yeah, I should remember my. Next time I'm gonna write down my Instagram name. So
there you go. If you type in Luke Cooper though on Instagram, he should pop up as well. Look for in the bio. Look for South London Palace Relations, and that'll be him. But thank you for joining again, ladies and gentlemen. Again, continue to spread the word, and until next time.